So in this paper, they talk a lot, obviously, on on sibling conflict and sibling rivalry, but they talk primarily, at least in their information that they've gathered, they talk primarily of psychological standpoints. So they talk about how the frequency in which conflict occurs between siblings affects siblings' social interactions, and they want to see how conflicts contribute to the children's social understanding. So, if they're able to understand other people's viewpoints and the way in which people are trying to express themselves and what they're trying to say in general. Um, Also, how the type of conflict causes the children or siblings to be able to create resolution tactics for when they're in other conflicts with other people or with their siblings itself. They show how conflict um, is sometimes defined in other peer reviewed articles as purely destructive, and that it should really focus more research, which some of it does, on cognitive development. So, how the conflict is not really destructive as it is actually quite beneficial. And most of the time, it says that social scientists are the ones that show the healthy component of the social development through sibling rivalry, and how people that are not usually social scientists don't really focus on that standpoint in which they should be focusing on. Um, in this article, the method in which they collected the data is that they had two sets of data. The first one dealt with the concern of siblings' perceptions of the relationship, so how they thought their relationship with their sibling is, and they interviewed the people that had the like on the perspective of the sibling that was closest to them. So in situations where there was three siblings, they focused on one, usually the youngest or eldest, and then focused on their perspective mostly usually with the younger child, whoever was closer. The second set of data was primarily focused on the type of conflict strategies um, in which the siblings used during their arguments and the quality of the relationship in which the siblings had. And these were usually questionnaires, is the way that this article does it. Um, they found that the focal point in which siblings engage in these destructive conflicts or these destructive um, like types of relationships and like demeanor towards each other reported larger negativity in relationships, and sometimes it showed that they were more negative in relationships, but in some situations it actually showed that they were able to have better social skills because of the conflicts in which they had with their siblings. So in one of the data, which in this one it's table 3, which focuses on sibling conflict strategies that were interviewed, because obviously it was a questionnaire. The children reported that the highest sibling good connection, so like in which they were warmer towards each other and they had a better connection and less rivalry, showed that um they also had greater constructive conflict. So if they were warmer towards them, they ended up using their aggression onto other people. And so it shows that they didn't have good social skills and abilities to correct themselves, to show themselves correctly in social standards. Um, but they also found that in the focal siblings assessments, the warmth and non-focal siblings, um, the conflict was negatively correlated, so it actually wasn't really connected. I mean, not that it wasn't connected. It was connected, obviously, but it wasn't as positive as a connection. But there's more positive connection between focal siblings reporting that they had conflicts with their siblings. And so this article definitely focuses more on the results in which there are um there are psychological connections. So they really want to focus on the development of the person, of the sibling itself and the child itself, into social standpoints based on the connection between the sibling empowerment, the sibling power or conflict or rivalry between them, to see if it had a connection with the way that they were able to show themselves in society and the way they were able to interact with other people.